Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded for Sunday, March 10th, 2024. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes directly real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. For those who need to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book session tab. It's very straightforward from there. And if you get a chance, just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. All those things really help the back end algorithm. Today will be a little different, only that we're going to now start dividing these shows into two different parts, a part one and a part two. They'll both be available on Sunday. But the reason is we had well over 500 questions this week. And I think my wife got them down to about 69 different questions. And so in order to make them easier to consume and basically from a post-production standpoint, we're going to start dividing the shows into a part one and a part two. So roughly half the questions answered in part one, half the questions answered on part two. So just thought we'd set that up here in advance. Also, in the news this week, and it's worth noting that it's now a fait accompli that both Trump and Biden will be the respective party nominees. They'll both be on the general election ballot. My guides and angels have been predicting this well over for several years now, since 2021. And I've talked about probably over a dozen shows on numerous channels. But now it's a fait accompli, and you will see both candidates move through to the election and be voted on, be on the general election ballot. I don't see anyone dying before the election. But it's important to note that Biden will be the winner of the presidential election, both in popular vote count, Electoral College count, and he will be sworn in as well as president for a second term. So I think it's important just to acknowledge that it's now a fait accompli and that my guides and angels have been discussing that now for the better part since 2021. So on that note, let's get going on the questions for today's show. So we had 69 questions overall. Again, we're splitting up to part one, part two, different shows. So question 69 to start out with. Will Clarence Thomas ever face impeachment for grift or violating the new ethics requirements for refusing to recuse himself in cases related to January 6th? You know, I don't see any charges for him, but I do see him stepping down. And it looks like we're within months of that happening. So what happened just before the election or right after the election? But he's going to be stepping down, and also things related to his wife, Ginny. So for entertainment purposes only, but I do see him stepping down, but not facing charges. 68. Hi, Sterling and team. How do we cultivate faith if we're not religious? Well, you know, faith is simply your belief system. So it's your belief system based on the things you encounter in life and your experiences. You know, spirituality in a lot of respects has nothing to do with religion, which is more of a man-made guidance or system. A lot of information for religion was channeled, but humanity got involved and kind of moved around a lot of the logic and a lot of the principles. But faith has everything to do with spirituality and the way you experience life. So the more you experience love and generosity and communicating with your angels and guides, those situations help to reinforce your faith. So it's kind of it's a multi-step process as you go through life. But again, spirituality is important for faith and really has nothing to do with religion, believe it or not. 67. Hi, Sterling and team. I know you have read on the Senate race in Texas, but I'm very concerned about down ballot races here. It appears that several incumbent Republicans in various positions have lost their primary races in favor of far-right candidates. When the November election happens, will the far-right's influence in Texas increase or decrease? You know, I see Colin Allred replacing Ted Cruz in one of those elections there, but unfortunately, it looks like Texas is still going to be a lot of far-right Republican politics. So it's not going to be a huge change, but, you know, certainly incremental change I see with Colin Allred winning that seat that's currently held by Ted Cruz. 66, how will marriage, partnerships, relationships change in the future if it does? Well, you'll see a much better balance between the sexes and all different, LGBTQ plus segments of society, but a much better balance. Remember that humanity is moving to a much more advanced state over 3 decades here, 2020 to 2050. It'd be much better aligned with the way extraterrestrials run their societies. They're much more advanced, much better balance. So you'll see balance in pay scales, balance in responsibilities in life, in the home, much better balance overall and respect overall. But it's a pretty much a 3 decade shift going on right now. But relationships will be much better in balance. I do see that. 65, hi, Sterling and team. Will we ever find out what Russia has on the ex-president and members of the GOP? Okay, and they named some members of the GOP. I'm not going to name them. We all know who the names are, but for entertainment purposes only. There's a lot of money that exchanged hands and a lot of back-end deals that occurred. Yes, this will all come to light. But it looks like a lot of it won't come to light until we get into 2025 after the presidential election. But you'll see a lot of transactions occurring with bank accounts in Switzerland and also places like Antigua around the Caribbean islands. So yeah, this is all going to come out, but it's more like 2025. 64, hi, Sterling and team. My sister had a fight with my brother the night he got into a car accident and passed away. Is he still upset with her? No one is ever upset or holds grudges on the other side. Remember, the other side, heaven, the dimension that moves faster than the speed of light, is all grounded in love. The whole universe and earth and the world only run on two energies, love and fear. Fear doesn't exist on the other side. If you look at what is in the fear dimension, it's anxiety, grudges, jealousy, hatred. Those things don't exist. So your brother confidently is completely in a state of love and acknowledges his life path and the decisions he made. But one of the lessons, remember, when you're left behind, when you pass over, it's almost a bit of a graduation. You actually start a new life on the other side. You don't cross over if it's not your time, but there are life lessons left for those behind here on Earth. Every day we're on Earth, we're still in a school. So one of the lessons I will tell you, I think it's your sister might be dealing with right now, is forgiveness, standing in a space of love. And remember, it is a school. We're all learning lessons every day we're here. But I can tell you unequivocally that the brother is not upset and is not holding any grudges, has nothing but love for the family and your sister. 63, hi, Sterling and team. Chuck Grassley is now taking credit for prodding the FBI to investigate Smirnoff. Is Grassley responsible for uncovering this scheme? No, I don't get he actually had any direct involvement, so maybe taking credit for something he didn't have involvement in. But it looks like he may have given some speeches before Congress that were, implicating the Bidens regarding Smirnoff. And so almost trying to backtrack and look like he's doing something that is helping the world, helping the nation. So it's a bit of a backtrack here, but I don't see him having a direct responsibility for highlighting this to the FBI. It looks like the FBI from day one was already involved in researching Smirnoff. It was Alexander Smirnoff, I think was his name. 62, hi, Sterling. Surely I can't be the only one, but I have no strong bonds with any humans on Earth and never have. My earthly loving bonds have only been with animals. I love humans, but my genuine, deep-seated, immortal bonds have not been with humans this incarnation. My guess is that there are others like me, but firmly in the minority. Can you and your team shed light on this? Well, there are many individuals down here that are empaths. They're very, so empath is usually tied to being a teacher, healer, life path in many cases. But remember, animals are part of the angelic realm. They come down with unconditional love. If you're a highly evolved soul, you're going to align with unconditional love very easily. So it's very common. Whoever asked this question, it's a very common life experience. So part of the human lesson down here is to learn how to love those around you. It doesn't say you have to, but understandably, animals come down here with unconditional love, and that's why you resonate with them so much. Very understandable. 61. Good morning, Sterling and team. Did Comer and other Republicans know in advance that Alexander Smirnoff was lying, but they chose to go ahead with the investigation? If yes, will the Republicans be held accountable for their actions? So a little bit of a tie-in to the question we were just answering. I think it was regarding Chuck Grassley. But yes, they all knew in advance that Alexander Smirnoff was not vetted, and there are some consequences coming because it looks like people knowingly in sharing text and other information acknowledge the fact that they knew the candidate was lying or Smirnoff was lying, and did not have any real information and had not been vetted. Yeah, it does. As we get towards the end of this year into 2025, it looks like charges are coming for a number of individuals that were involved in this. 60. Hello, Sterling and team. We have a cat named Xander, born in 2015. He's bringing stuffed animals downstairs. Can you take a look at this and tell us why he's bringing them? Is he ill? No, well, I'm not a doctor or a vet, but I'm not getting he's ill. What I'm getting is that he actually is lonely and wants to spend more time with real animals, but bringing the stuffed animals to you almost out of boredom. Now, animals a lot of times will bring you other animals as a gift or an offering out of love. In the case of your cat, I'm getting loneliness, that he actually wants another animal to play with. And they're like bored with the stuffed animals. He's like returning them to you. That's kind of funny, but he wants a real animal to play with. 59. Hi, Sterling. Are we ever going to get rid of the Electoral College? Yes, it looks like within about 5 years, big movement on getting rid of the Electoral College. That means that not any faster than like the presidential election of 2036 is when finally it'll be like the popular vote. It looks like that presidential election. So we got a couple of cycles to go, but it looks like they'll start to get rid of the Electoral College, put everything in place. A little bit of a long process here, but my team saying looks like by 2036 presidential election is when it'll be a more popular vote getting rid of the Electoral College. 58 in the countdown. Mar-a-Lago is apparently registered under a New York City or New York LLC. Does it mean it will have to be sold? I've always seen that Mar-a-Lago is at some point going to get seized due to IRS, like an IRS seizure due to like tax debt or something of that nature. So I see a seizure for Mar-a-Lago, but not that it's directly sold to pay off a debt. It's kind of interesting, a little bit of a nuance there, but being seized for lack of taxes being paid. 57. Sterling and team, how long until teachers are treated with respect and paid for our expertise? I see starting in 2026, significant changes around available revenue pay for teachers, big increases for teacher salary, big increases for resources in the schools, a real integration of artificial intelligence technology that customizes learning plans for students, makes it easier on teachers. You already saw in the State of the Union address for President Biden that he's starting to try to move that direction. But my team's saying by 2026, big changes overall around teaching and a lot of the radical element that we're seeing right now in society around the right is going to start to subside in a way that teachers are going to get back to a level of success and respect. 56. Will CRISPR gene editing technology help with hair loss? It will. It's all very gene-based, but my team's saying it's about 5 to 8 years away here for some sort of a vaccine or even a nasal spray that uses CRISPR technology that starts to change the genealogy around hair loss. Remember, there's also a big stress component. I'm not a doctor, but there's also a big stress component around hair loss. But there's also a big gene factor. So it's kind of an inside-out solution to hair loss. But there will be around 5 to 8 years here, you're going to start to see medications coming on the market for that, for hair loss. And alopecia, my team just said, again, not a doctor here, my team just said some forms of alopecia are already being worked on right now with gene editing technology. I don't know if they asked about that or not. Yeah, okay. 55. I love your show, Sterling. Ed Leeds Kalman built the, okay, it's Ed Leeds Kalman, looks like, built the Coral Castle in Florida all by himself. It's made from blocks of coral weighing tons. No one knows how he did it. How did he build the Coral Castle? I'm getting this again. I remember reading on this several years ago, but it was a handheld device delivered by extraterrestrials that used anti-gravity propulsion technology. So the same rare materials, the combination of rare materials, are not found on Earth right now. But when you combine these rare materials together, you get an anti-gravity propulsion or anti-gravity effect. This handheld device was on Earth for a while, but taken back. And I get it was taken back by extraterrestrials because they somehow felt it was going to be misused. So granted, this gentleman, Ed, built the Coral Castle, but the applications for humanity was going to use it for things that weren't in their best interest. It's interesting. So it's a handheld device using anti-gravity propulsion types of technology. 54, hi Sterling. My son had a work accident where he lost vision in his left eye. The other day, he took a taxi and the driver out of the blue told him that his eye will be all right. My son was taken back. Was this an angel giving him a message? He will be having a corneal transplant in the coming months. Was this person giving him a message that his vision will be restored? This is a psychic medium jumping in to help. So somebody who is completely connected with the other side, their angelic team, and giving your son a message of hope because they picked that up. There's something there they're supposed to get through to your son. I do see your son having a successful outcome in the operation, and it looks like I'm getting like three waves or three groups of doctors or eye surgeons getting involved in this because it looks like they may try something or do something that's rather innovative in this case. But yes, this is a psychic medium working with his team to deliver a message to your son. And, all these life experiences are supposed to teach you that there is much more than what we see, hear, feel, taste, touch. Human beings have a very limited range of senses, and there's a lot more that we don't see. And this is a great example for your son experience of someone reaching out from across the veil to help get a message to your son. 53, Sterling and team. I've experienced energy radiating from my hands for years, but never incoming energy until recently. Is it possible for energy to be transferred into our bodies while we sleep? Not just in the sleep state, but it's very normal to have energy move out of our bodies and energy move into our bodies, both in the waking state and the sleeping state. All depends on what's happening. A lot of times, energy can be moving to you in terms of a download or healing energy for you from your team. Many times, energy can move out if you're exuding healing energy for people around you. But really, it can happen. It's bi-directional. It can happen either way in a waking state, sleeping state, coming in, going out. So they're very common, actually. 52. Hello, Sterling and team. Alan Weisselberg just pled guilty to perjury. Will Alina Habba be disbarred for putting Weisselberg on the stand, knowing he would lie for 45 in the Kaplan trial? No, I don't see Haba being disbarred. I do see some sort of a disciplinary action. Doesn't look like she's going to get disbarred for that. Eventually she's going to get disbarred, they're telling me, but it's some other action coming down the road here. So it's not the Weisselberg trial, but there's another event coming up for her. Looks like we're going to hear about it this year. But there's a disbarment coming for her, but looks like not directly related to the Weisselberg trial. 51, love watching every week from Cape Town. When someone passes away and there are continued prayers for them long after their passing, and since we all go to heaven, do these prayers help those on the other side or are more helpful for those left behind? Not to worry about people that pass on. So when you pray for somebody, it's like sending them a candygram or a wonderful, loving greeting card. So it bolsters them, makes things nicer for them. But on the other side, we all actually have all the tools we need, all the angelic energy. Our spirit is completely, our complete soul DNA is all together, along with our unique spiritual family. So when you pray, there's almost more of a helpful element to those that are still left behind, like allowing them to stand in the light and be aligned with their loved ones. So it's like getting a candygram or a wonderful greeting card on the other side. It doesn't necessarily push them along. They have plenty of angelic energy on the other side, along with our unique spiritual family. 50. Sterling, what kind of spirit is in a smiling face orb versus plain white orb? And does the size and color indicate soul's age and ascension level? Smiley faces are actually simply partially developed apparitions, so not a lot. The size and color do directly correlate with who you're seeing. The brighter blue color means that's stronger energy, what they call shorter wavelength. That's higher energy. That's angels, guides, ascended masters. The lower colors in the red or orange range is longer wavelength, lower energy, not lower meaning, prankster spirits, just not angelic energy, but a lot of family members will come through in reds and orange tones. The size does have a lot to do with who is communicating with you. Pets can be a little smaller. I've actually seen some pets be very large orbs as well. So it depends on who it is communicating with you and the level they're coming at from heaven. Remember, there are thousands of levels in heaven. But the smiley face orbs they're not very frequent, but kind of partially developed apparitions. Remember, you have to learn some of those skills on the other side. 49. Blessing Sterling and team. I feel Citizens United has caused more damage to our democracy than any other piece of legislation. Will this ever be overturned? This all relates to allowing corporations to contribute as much as they want to campaigns, and it made it a nonprofit. It was a 501c nonprofit. I think that was a 2010 decision. I do see it being overturned, but not till about the year 2026. So yes, it's all part of a way that a lot of things are going to be reconstituted around our democracy. Absolutely. Okay, 48 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. My dad's right hip broke as he stood up. He fell, bashed his head on the wall, and his right knee also bashed on the floor. He was incoherent for weeks. He is now home and coherent and bedridden. I moved us to a new home. I said, "We don't have ghosts here, Daddy." He says, "Oh, yes, we do. We have four," as he points to the wall. He says, "One woman and three men." Who is he seeing? He says they are very nice to him. These are all family members of yours that passed on. So your father, it all depends on what condition we're in from a human standpoint. But a lot of times, if you decouple your logical mind or you're going through a major health crisis, you actually can step into the other side or see the other side much more easily, just like psychic mediums. Your father is seeing family members. These are direct family members related to your father. It looks like even your mother's side here, they're telling me. So nothing to be worried about, but he actually is seeing your family members on the other side in a spiritual form. 47. Sterling, you have said in the past that parts of our souls do not remain in heaven when we are down on earth. However, our souls or higher selves more connected or in tune with the other side. So first, there's no difference here. Let me explain. People use the term higher self. It's only you that's here. That is, it's your entire spiritual core soul DNA. That's all you. When people refer to your higher self, that's you connecting with the other side. It's the same element, the same total spiritual soul being that's walking around the planet. So I don't want any confusion here. Whenever people say their higher self, that's really you, your core spiritual soul communicating with the other side. Now, the question is your soul? There is no difference. So it gets down empirically to how well you communicate with your angelic team. And there are very practical, pragmatic ways to develop those skills. We've talked about them here on this show a number of times. But don't confuse this higher self. It's you. Whenever you try to communicate with the angelic team, try to communicate with the other side, loved ones. That is you, your core spiritual soul DNA. And that's the same soul that moves lifetime to lifetime. 46, high sterling and team. Will Medicare's dental coverage ever expand to cover the cost of dentures or implants? I do see when Medicare is revamped in 2026 to 2027, it looks like they're going to include a lot of those benefits that have not been included up to date. It looks like they may start out with implants first and then move into dentures or something. Again, not a doctor here, but or a dentist, but they're telling me 2026 to 2027, like the entire program will be revamped and then be much more inclusive of a lot of dental benefits here. And I know that's owing to more revenue coming in from creating that minimum tax for corporations of at least 15%. Again, my guys and angels have been talking about that for years on this show, but that's coming. 45. Greetings, Sterling and team. In the summer of 1968 in Northern California, a friend and I had contact with a UFO. This spaceship came down in a small valley that we were camping in at 2 a.m. in the morning. It put on quite a show for us before approaching us and shining a light on us. These beings were highly developed, deeply compassionate. Can you please tell me who these beings were, and are they still a part of my consciousness or our consciousness? This was an extraterrestrial ship moving towards a military base in the area. It looks like they did look at you. They decided you weren't a threat and then moved on to the military base. They're not part of your consciousness. You weren't abducted. But this is, you had an encounter, a very close encounter with an extraterrestrial. It looks like a mothership to me, too, because I'm picking up something larger in size here than what they call a drone ship. But no, nothing to worry about. Certainly a memorable experience, but nothing to worry about, not part of your current consciousness. Okay, 44 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling and team. Will there be a future treatment for mild cases of cerebral palsy where only the mobility of a foot and a hand are affected? Yes. What I'm getting right now is that there's actually CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology being tested right now for various neurological functions in this area. We're still about 8 to 10 years away from what looks like it may be, in this case, a nasal spray that will have the actual medication in it. But there actually looks like scientists right now are isolating the genes that create this condition. So we're about 8 to 10 years away. My team's saying it'll probably be a nasal spray. 43. Hi, Sterling. If we desire to meet one of our star family, say a hybrid person, can we meet them by sending out a telepathic request just to have a pleasant conversation with them? Unfortunately, no, if it's not on your life path, it's not going to take place. Many individuals that are communicating with ETs right now and hybrids, it's all part of their life path. So they're working on things for humanity. It's either world peace, technology, free energy, science, health advancements. But no, if it's not your life path, you won't be able to communicate with them. They're actually not going to engage for where we're at right now in society. Remember, in a few years here, they will be much more public in society, but they'll still be working on behalf of humanity for very large world causes. Remember, we all start as star seeds. So I want to make that point. My team was just reminding me to say something here about that. People get confused sometimes about, who's a star seed or a star family. We all start out in a star system, absolutely. But anyway, according to this question here, if it's not your life path, you won't be communicating with them. 42. Hi, Sterling and team. In our life review on the other side, how is someone's childhood behavior judged as opposed to how we acted as a grown-up or act as a grown-up? Well, everything is taken in the context of a learning lesson. So everything we do down here is part of a life lesson. When you go to the other side in the review, it's taken in the context of how you affected other people, even as a child. It's always meant to push you forward energetically to levels in heaven, but it's all part of a life lesson. I tell people nothing to fear, but we do have to kind of engage and feel the things that we created down here for other people. 41. Sterling and team. Years ago, when our kids were in preschool and early grade school, I was sitting in the living room when I saw a child-sized figure run out of our daughter's room into the kitchen and then gone. This was not one of our children as they were all in bed. Who was this? This was a child that didn't make it into the world, and it's actually directly related to your family. So this could be your direct family here, or once removed. But this is a child that still has a loving connection with a family, but did not make it into this world. So a variety of reasons sometimes with children don't make it into the world. Miscarriage can be one of them. But I'm being told it's actually a child directly related to your family on the spiritual side. I'm also being told this child is with a mother energy on the other side, which means that could be a grandmother or somebody that's in the family hierarchy that's mothering this child. But yeah, nothing to be worried about, but the child loves being around your environment. 40. Good day, Sterling. I have been more or less homeless for over 5 years. Many refugees are also looking for a safe place to live as well. I wonder why we are here on Earth. We do not have a place to live or even sleep legally on Earth. Will this change in the nearby future? First off, big changes over the next 1 to 2 years here due to more funding coming into the government, which we talked about. But it's also important that we all come down, we all lay out our life path and our blueprint for life lessons we want to learn. But remember that all of our life paths are interconnected. So the experiences you are going through are also helping or assisting others. For example, they may motivate others to create programs for the homeless or reach out or do things they wouldn't normally do, invite someone into their home. So we're all interconnected here. And I know sometimes it's difficult when we look at an isolated experience, but I can tell you, at least from a pragmatic standpoint, over the next 1 to 2 years here, dramatic changes in homeless programs to correct a lot of these problems. But we're going through a process here. I send out a lot of love and light to whoever asked this question. I do see good things coming up in short order for you here, and the help you're going to need here very quickly. 39. Hello, Sterling Linden team. When will there be effective treatment and when will there be a cure for chronic fatigue syndrome? In Europe, they call it myalgic encephalomyelitis. Sorry about that. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. Okay. Scientists right now are already working on a number of genetic causes for this, for what we're calling chronic fatigue syndrome. Seriously, in the past, when I read on this, I'm getting this again. There are some CRISPR breakthroughs being done here, but this chronic fatigue syndrome is somehow neurologically also related to some other disorders. So they're isolating genes here. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things there that correlate with chronic fatigue syndrome that you would normally figure. Yeah, like obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. Yeah, they're telling me. So there's some things here. There's correlation scientists are making. There will be some treatment. Again, it's within the decade here, but it's coming. So it is coming here. 38. Sterling, in a previous video, you have mentioned that ETs are on the ocean floors. Do they reside in their ships or do they build underground facilities and bases? There are several underground bases that have been built, and many under ocean bases that are built, and they're actually co-staffed by not just humans or Homo sapiens sapien, but extraterrestrials as well. Many of them are in the deepest areas of the oceans, the deepest trenches. So I think like Mariana Trench, if I remember correctly, is one of the deepest. I think that's like 7 miles deep. But they're actually not in ships. The ships go down to those bases. We've got lots of footage showing ships going down to the bases, like in the water, and also in other areas of the world, like Mount Shasta. But they don't stay in ships. They're actually bases. So they're in their form, but there are bases down there. 37. Hello, Sterling and team. When will there be a reversal of the damage we have done to our oceans? Starting right now, I've read on this in other shows, there's advanced forms of algae being developed, and these algae are going to propagate throughout the world's oceans. It's going to take a number of years, even some decades here for some of these algae to propagate, but I see scientists studying certain types of whether I don't know what type of algae this is. I almost was going to call it, well, I really don't know. My team didn't give me the term here, but they're algae that now scientists know that they will propagate through the oceans and correct a lot of the decomposition of plastics and other chemicals and pollutants in the ocean. So scientists are making good progress. Once this propagation starts to take place, be years, even decades, but we're going to see progress in that area. By the way, some of this technology was delivered by extraterrestrials to create these algae. 36, will there ever be a better vetting system for anyone who runs for any office representing anyone? I believe they should be able to pass the same test immigrants take for citizenship and also have to pass a security clearance if their position in the form of matter of responsibility they're asked to undertake. I do see that in 2026, we're going to see a new vetting system for candidates, presidential candidates, members of Congress, and also extreme vetting in background searches. So it's interesting. Whenever a lot of bad things happen, a lot of times they shine a flashlight on where changes in society have to be made. So you can thank a lot of the characters that we have across government that are shining a flashlight in a lot of the areas that have to be corrected. So we're going to see big changes in this particular vetting of congressional and political officers. I'm seeing 2026 is going to be an important time. And on that note, that concludes part 1 of the show being recorded for Sunday, March 10th, 2024. As always, if you need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the Book a Session tab. You can look for part 2 of the show as a separate show, also available on Sunday, March 10th, 2024. Until we speak again, I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I'll see you again very soon.